Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Section 214 of BT Lions podcast. I'm your host, Ascent, and I'm back with my two co-hosts for it's been a long time since all three of us have been together. Right? I'm happy
Finally.
to see you guys again.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the what. Yeah, there's been a few bits of happiness, over the week that we've had, in terms of our daily life. Like I went to the anime convention at FFU. I had a lot of fun there, and just uh we just done various things, but yeah, just the one thing that this podcast is working for, like, yeah, we gotta watch CFL games for a living from our team, and man, it's been a chore, and this game was especially a chore. And
Yeah.
I Yeah, this was the first game that I missed. I had to record it on my PVO, and thankfully I did watch through the game on the day of the game that it was played. So I think that counts as keeping my home and streak alive for that. But
Did you have a media blackout for yourself before you watched it?
no, uh,
So you knew the pain and torture you were getting yourself into.
uh, actually, actually, no, I know what you were going to know. No, what I did was, like, as soon as I got home from SW, I just turned the game on, and I closed my eyes when I got to the group chat. I scrolled all the way up to the beginning of when you Hammer were talking about it in the group chat.
Oh God.
And as the game was going on, I scrolled down like bit by bit to see the reactions that you did, right?
I
And
was screaming in the group chat. I think I was the only one watching live because
Yeah.
Jacob, you were also doing something that day. And that was in a year of frustrating Lions losses. This was probably the most frustrating one for me. I had much more fun at the Whitecaps game that night. I like your hat, Ascent.
yes,
So
that's another reason why that's one reason why I'm wearing it. Like, at least somebody won in Vancouver today.
that was a great night. But
2 days, yeah, 2 days ago. But yeah, it was somebody won, so I had to do get a little bit of positivity in there. But just little bits of positivity for these first few minutes, and then like the rest of it is just going to be absolutely negative, right? So
I
we're
had
just
one more
getting
thing.
yes,
I You were talking about cool things we did this week. I saw the Stanley Cup. Um, I didn't just see it, I got to touch the Stanley Cup. So I will forever claim that I touched the cup before McDavid. If you've watched along,
yes,
you know how much I've hated on the Florida Panthers. So there's an event in North Van where Sam Reinhart brought the cup to Ambleside Park and did a meet and greet, and that was really cool. He's a nice dude. And I also got on CTV News. So there was an
yeah.
article
There's a
about
screen
Sam
cap in
Reinhart.
the chat. Yeah,
Yep.
that
Could bring
I
that up.
actually,
There was a
I actually had to rewind the TV on the news just to see it out because
really.
yeah, it was like the 6 o'clock news, but I had to
Mhm.
rewind all the way just to see it there for those few seconds. So yeah, now you and me are on the news. So
There's
now
both of us.
yeah,
That's funny. Funny how you went back. I saw it on the article. Like I was just scrolling that night, and I couldn't believe that I was on there. So that was fun.
yeah.
Excited for hockey to start up, but we'll get into the Lions now.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I guess before we get into the gut check of like with unfathomable loss, I do want to mention that because we're going into another bye week next week, because we've started our recording like a little bit later than we usually do, because the latest we usually do it is like a day after the game, but this is 2 days after the game now, so I think I want to postpone, calling for the viewers to come on and join us for a chat for the next bi-week episode. So that's going to be in October. So what we'll be doing for a bi-week episode for this time around will be just recapping the Elks and Stampeders game on Labor Day. And who would have thought that the Elks game would be important to Lions a month ago?
Ah, that's
I even
depressing.
said I even said in the group chat, like, the Elks are licking their chops at us now. Like
Yeah.
we're wanting the Elks to lose now because but they've been on a winning streak, right? So
This is just it's just completely tragic. These are the same Elks that, had what was it, a 15 or 16 game home losing streak just a year or two ago, and now here they are nipping at our heels, and they have a game in hand on BC. Luckily, BC has the tiebreaker, so thank
yeah,
goodness for those wins against Edmonton early in the year, and that clinches the tiebreaker against Edmonton, regardless of what happens in the later game against Edmonton, because we'll have won two. They can only win
yeah.
one. So
I think the only conceivable way that Edmonton can pass us if BC continues to lose and Edmonton wins a few more games, right? But it's a long shot, but we're not discounting that possibility because anything can happen. I just and usually that goes against us, right? Because would have um. So yeah, had BC beaten Toronto, I think the Winnipeg game would have been the the game that we could have recapped, but unfortunately, the most I think the most pressing issue to BC in terms of playoff standing now is just hoping that teams below us start losing games now, right? And it's not happening.
nope.
No. Uh, sort of that recap for the bye week, and then we'll get into your CFL facts book as well, and also hopefully we can get someone that JF and Hammer, you guys know this person named James, who's
Mm.
working on his engineering and journalism, right? And he's
Sports journalism at BCIT. We've known him for a couple years. Great dude. We talk about the Canucks with him. He's basically our Elliot Friedman. He updates us about all the news in the group chat. So
So we
we'd love
hope
to
to
have him
get him
on.
on one day.
We'll ask him pretty soon. 'Cause we never had a guest on the podcast before.
No, we
I think he
haven't.
would be a good fit. But also,
Absolutely.
it just came to my mind that in the future we could have one of our dads on the podcast. Like, I mean, it's very exciting seeing what we can do.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Or anybody else.
I've got a few ideas swirling around for every a lot of our bye week episodes, not just for this year but next year as well. So I've got it
Hmm.
covered for a bit. And of course, we can still do a little more. Hopefully, you can still do a little more of our recordings in the podcast studio at Douglas College, right? Because you said that your
Yeah.
Douglas College ID doesn't expire until 2029. So
It seems like it. I mean, what's stopping me? I mean, it is not revoked. There's nothing stopping me from signing up from classes right now, even though I've transferred to a different school. So I'm still technically a student. And as I said, I just subscribed to YouTube Premium yesterday using my Douglas account. So um, I
It
want to use
cannot
all the
stop you.
benefits
Keep it
while they
up.
last. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, and especially considering most of our episodes are in the summer as well, and typically in
Mm.
Douglas College that's a very low event semester,
Yeah.
right? Not as many students are there compared to the fall and winter. So
I actually, Jacob, you'll be moving back here next summer. So
That's correct.
we'll have a
Yes.
chance to see you a bit more.
And
a
yeah,
lot
That'll
more
be
do.
pretty
often.
cool.
Yeah,
It's exciting. It's too bad
yeah.
you
I'd
guys
love.
aren't here. I could try and get us into the UVic podcasting studio just for fun, but I don't know how to use it. So there you go.
Yeah, if you, yeah, and I think in UBC there was also a podcasting studio there that was like, man,
I'll
we're
look out
just
for it. Yeah,
we're just
be surprised if they
spoiled
didn't have
we're
one.
just spoiled when it comes to just tertiary options for podcasting reporting, right?
We're being
Something
well
that we don't have
taken
to pay
care of.
for. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also want to mention one more thing before we get into gut check is that you mentioned this was the latest episode after a game we've recorded, but technically the earliest we've recorded because it's mid-afternoon right now. We normally
Yes,
record like
you can
late
see
at night after the game.
It's true. I didn't think of it
there's
that
still
way.
daylight out there, right? You can see
Yep.
that. Yeah,
So that's a
normally,
fun little thing.
yeah, and it's like quite hot here, so and my arms are pretty sweaty right now. So
It's
The
been
last two
really,
days
really
are
hot.
awful.
Hopefully everybody's staying cool, drinking lots of water because
yeah,
yeah, you don't want to get
I got
dehydrated. I'm very adamant about that. So people drink your water.
Agreed.
yeah. JS, the official hydro homie of this podcast.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's so all that preamble out of the way. That's probably the longest preamble we've had in a while, but yeah,
Anything
let's
to
get
delay the
into the
Lions
gut
talk.
check of this game. And like my God, I am so glad that I didn't have to suffer through that game live. Good stuff. I could just skip through the commercials, and it was still it still felt pretty brutal to go through. Right, just
Just
yeah,
atrocious, honestly.
atrocious. I mean, on what on what like on one side of the ball in terms of the offense was mostly fine, except for the pick six that walked through in that
All things
second
considered, when
quarter.
you score 34 points, that's a good day. You can't be unhappy about that.
They've been scoring like a lot of points in a lot of these recent games, and yet you said, Cameron, you said you were like 500 or at least under 500 when it comes to scoring, high amount of points, right?
Yeah, so
Even
the last 6 games, the Lions have scored 27 or more points, and 5 of those games we've scored 32 or more points. We are 3-3 in that span because
that's
of our god-awful
unacceptable.
defense. It is unacceptable. Our stance is fire Benavides because this can't go on.
Yeah,
I'm really mad that we're wasting a good season by the offense. Rourke is having a good year. As much as the conversation we've been having about VA versus Rourke, Rourke has been doing better than VA this year. Um, our
stats wise,
offense,
yes.
James Butler being the best running back in the league. Hatcher
Yes.
has been the
A
best
thousand
wide
yards.
receiver in the league. Yeah, he reached a
And
thousand last
yeah,
game.
he got to 1,000 yards in the game, and it's like, man, I think it would trade that in for a win.
Hmm.
Literally, it would be
uh,
nice. I wouldn't complain. We need a win. It's crushing, really.
and I even mentioned before that before the point, I said that I for the past decade before this year, it's always been the offense has always been stymied by other teams for the most part. And the defense has been killing us, and now the shoes on the other foot, where the offense is doing just fine, and that the defense has turned into complete sieves over just uh
Yeah, I want to talk about the game itself because there are so many different aspects of it that frustrated me. The first quarter, we were up 14-3, and
yeah,
early in the year, we would never have first quarter leads. So we started off the game well. We proceeded to give up 25 points in the second quarter, obviously losing 52-34. There was one point in the game where we gave up 5 touchdowns in 6 drives, which is
Wow.
unacceptable.
No, they shouldn't be
I
giving up 5 touchdowns in a game, let alone in 6 drives. And yet,
Yeah.
here we go.
I'm searching the heavens right now for answers, and I'm not getting any.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. I also literally feel like that. That community GIF where Donald Glover has like a pizza box. He's going in all happy, and then he sees like the whole room is on fire, and he's shocked.
Yeah,
That's what I felt like going through. I left the house when it
good
was 14.
description.
Like I left the house when it was 14 to 3. I'm like, okay, good start so far. And then I come back, and then I watch through the game, and I go, what the hell happened? Like, what?
Literally.
I
It's
feel like that community GIF, right? uh,
it's the definition of a collapse. Um,
Oh, I just took me a second to understand your reference. Yes. Yes, I get it. I agree.
yeah,
I
you know
love
that
that
GIF
show.
now.
I do.
I
Yes.
love the show too. Yeah. But just the
Oh,
ease that Toronto was playing with. This felt like the Hamilton game where we gave up 10 points in the final 2 minutes. That game I called, or sorry, my dad called, I'm going to call it this. He called it a no-hitter because Bo Levi took no hits and every receiver was wide open. And it felt the same for Toronto. There was so much ease
Arbuckle
the way that
just
Arbuckle was playing.
had the game of his life when he already had the game of his life against Winnipeg in the Grey Cup last year. This was probably I think this was probably his best game against BC since that time he came in for Bo Levi Mitchell. Subbing in for him because Bo Levi Mitchell got injured in a Calgary game, and
Yeah.
Arbuckle led the Stampeders to come back against BC. That was years ago, but
Oh,
yeah, this was yeah for this one it was like the only comeback that was really needed was in the second quarter, right? And then everything else was just they just stayed afloat, right?
Kind of pathetic,
Just
really.
yeah. And this is the worst team in the CFL that's doing it to us. This isn't
It
Saskatchewan.
is.
This isn't Calgary doing it. This isn't even Winnipeg. This is the Argos, who are suffering the mother of all Grey Cup hangovers, and they dropped 52 on us like it was nothing. Right?
We talk about how bad our defense was. Toronto is actually worse than us. They've given up the most points in the league, and their coach publicly shamed some of their defensive players in an interview when they went 0-3 earlier this year.
And that
Um,
didn't matter.
Didn't
yeah,
matter.
well, because we're the
It
BC Lions.
That's what happens with this stupid city we live in because every single time we play the crappy teams and we lose. It's the BC Lions, the Canucks, the Whitecaps, whoever. Always we lose to the crappiest teams at the worst time. Just imagine where we would be if we had won on Saturday. We'd be 6-6, or like 6-5 rather, and we'd be tied with Winnipeg for the third spot, a game out of second. You know, we'd be in much better shape, but we can't seem to beat these lousy teams.
I was going to say, even Pacific Northwest sports teams in general, I'm not safe from this because, yeah, the Seahawks and the Mariners are certainly victims of this too, even when they're like one of the best teams they've had. They've lost to bad teams before when they were pretty good as well. But yeah,
Truly
Game.
dreadful.
Yeah.
uh,
Sorry for the
man,
I want to
rant.
say that I'm the type of person I will watch the whole game. I've been to so many brutal Lions losses and I've never left early. But this game, I stopped watching with 10 minutes left because I could not take it anymore. I only realized before we started recording that Rourke had a fumble with like 4 minutes left, but
it's
that didn't matter. Like, I thought the game was over in the third quarter when the points difference was less than 10 points just because of how easy we let them
You
run
could
us
just feel
over.
it.
Yeah.
you just feel that. Well, yeah, I mean, I think put and it's funny, like when I was coming home from the convention, I told my parents that were driving me home. I said, like, okay, don't spoil the game on me. But I could tell from the tone of my dad's voice that the game didn't go very well. Unfortunately, and I kind of primed to expect a loss, even when I didn't know what the score was until the end, right? But yeah, my fears were very much founded, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I wasn't like completely in the dark technically, but
You
it was
knew it wasn't
still
going
like
well.
yeah, yeah, years of watching Vancouver sports teams like play terribly, play down to their opponents and lose. I was kind of preparing for that. Right, I even said that in the Montreal game. I think a little bit in the last episode. I said like, yeah, it's against the worst team in the league, but on the road too. It's like, man, it's just
Well, what else
on
is new?
like the deep. I don't know what happened. The defensive side of the ball was just like not prepared whatsoever. They kept doing constant zone defense, and it just wasn't working. Right, so Benevides was just adamant about doing that, even when it wasn't working. Right, it was just so frustrating to see Arbuckle constantly throw for like 10, 15 yards. Right,
Zone defense is constantly being on my nerves. I mean, that's how we lost in the playoffs last year. Just letting guys run and find a
letting
seam every time.
Saskatchewan just dink and dunk on us like Trevor Harris was having a field day with that, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just you have to mix it up. You can't stubbornly go to zone defense for 70% of the snaps on defense, right? Like it feels like it.
Matt,
I'm not sure about the
he needs to be
advanced
fired.
stats, but yeah, Benavides absolutely needs to be fired. I like you cannot give up 52 points to the worst team in the league. Like, that's unacceptable. Uh,
I think every fan
yeah,
would agree with us. Fire him.
yeah, and I've read the post game comments on the CFL subreddit thread, and I've read Twitter comment, and I'm like, man, it's just total dogpiling, and I cannot find any reason to disagree with that. Right, I'm with them. I'm like, man, this is just not a at this rate, this is not a playoff team, right? Like
The
we're
only reason we seriously, I said this whenever I was here last. The only reason we have a chance at the playoffs is because Toronto and Ottawa are so lousy. because like we're gonna have to fight off Edmonton. Toronto and Ottawa are, not good teams, but even they're only 2 games behind the Lions. And remember with the crossover rule that the Lions would have to finish ahead of them in wins. It's not enough to be tied. We have to have more wins than them to make it. So the Lions are facing a lot of heat to make the playoffs. And at this point, if they did squeak in somehow, it might end with a blowout loss in Montreal in the East Semi like it did in 2014.
2014. That
2014.
yeah,
I
that
remember that
was
one.
that was with Crumpton as quarterback, I believe, as well, and that
It
was
was a
just
total mess.
uh, again, it's just no matter which way you slice it, it's just backup quarterbacks or just league worst teams. I mean, it just feels like BC just doesn't have a chance for the most part. I guess it's just weird. It's just weird mojo on the Lions that they just any way you can think about them losing, they'll probably do it. Right? I think, yeah, this is probably one of the lowest times I felt from this about this team. And I've watched this team for a long time, right? So, I, yeah. And
It's
of
not
course,
feeling
I
good at
also
all.
before you get and one more thing before getting to statistics, I said that so far, in our short podcast, in our short history of the podcast, like last year BC ended up being a mid team, but that was only after a hot start, and then we just like collapsed down the stretch, and we won just enough to make it. But this is more this like I can't really decide whether this season is more frustrating than the last one. I think they're both equally frustrating in just different ways, right? This is just straight up inconsistency, right? I do not know what to expect from this team one game to the next. uh,
You're right. I don't know what to expect. I'm not sure what I expected from this game, but that was just ridiculous.
I do not like that in a team. Like I want to know, I want to have confidence that they'll be able to win a game. But now it feels like any team in the league can beat us. Even Edmonton in their last game could probably do that, right?
I feel like at this point, like the last 6 games, you can almost guarantee a really good offensive performance. It's just the defense. They keep letting us
yeah.
down like that.
It's
Uh,
it's time. It's again. We said it a few weeks ago. We're gonna say it again. Time for Mike Benavides to go. Like he's been. Has he been a good coach for the Lions? Honestly, so
one
so.
time in 2012, right, when he was the head coach for
Yeah,
the first year, right? But
when we
since then,
made the West Final and lost to Calgary at home. But since then, he hasn't done a lot, and it's
yeah,
it's
and
it's time to go. I'm sorry.
I
Like,
think it was also an assistant coach for the Wally Bonner Lions in the 2000s. But
yeah,
yeah, I think
It's his
this time
protege.
around, like the game has passed him by, right? Like his
yeah, it
style of
has.
defense is just not working whatsoever, right? Uh,
Yeah, it's time to move on from him, and maybe he needs a fresh start too. I'm sure he could find something better, but the Lions need more than what we've been getting from him, and I reiterate my call for his job, to be clear.
yeah, he's got to be like the hottest seat in the room right now. I mean, Buck Pierce, I think he's got another like year or two if things don't change, but because this is his first year as the head coach, right? So although it's not the first time that BC has asked a coach after just one year. Remember Claiborne in 2019?
Devon Playbooks,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, Claybooks. Yeah,
that was
Claybooks.
depressing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad we didn't start our podcast then because that would have been even more
Oh my
depressing. But
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah, let's just so we've generally described our negative feelings about this game and about the wider implications of this, right? In terms of the playoff standing. So, yeah, let's just get into like the weeds of what made this game suck so bad, right? And
Stats.
I'll start with the offense. Like I did with the intro, I'll start with the good stuff with BC's offense, right? At least, so. Yeah, Wilk went 20 for 31 for 326 yards. That's another 300 plus yard game for him. 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, which was the pick six, and of course a fumble that you mentioned in the fourth quarter, but that was like in the garbage time moment, but yeah, and yeah, 10.5 average yards per throw, and his longest was 34. And he also added he had that one carry in the third quarter for 47, right? That
Wow.
was
Yes.
he's doing absolutely everything to try and win, right?
But he's
And
being let down by the defense. That's a shame. But it goes to show you that one player cannot single-handedly turn a team around. He's a great player, but a lot of the team around him
unless you're
is.
Vernon Adams towards Calgary, that's
How about this?
Round.
How about this? They don't necessarily do it. They theoretically can, but you shouldn't take it for granted.
shouldn't take it no, it shouldn't be like a normal thing to happen, right? It should the situation should call for one player to be that juice, the extra shot in the arm to get to making a great team, right? It shouldn't be you shouldn't count on that happening all the time, right? uh yeah, and yeah, and then for the running back, yeah, Butler, he had 11 carries for 83 yards, so that's not bad, and 2 touchdowns, ran for 7.5 on average, and then close to a 20-yard run was his longest. So yeah, I didn't find any fault in this game in this one either, right?
Very good game from him.
Yeah, and and the receivers, yeah, Hatch, these stats. I rattle off these receiver stats. You would think we would have won this game, right? Because look at Hatcher, 7 catches for 8 targets for 131 yards, no touchdown, and 18. Oh, I wound it up 19 yards on average, and his longest catch was 30 yards. That's an absolute
Nearly perfect like last game.
S tier game, close to an S tier as you can imagine without a touchdown, right? Aberhart, 4 catches on 4 targets with 58 yards and no touchdowns, 15 on average, and his longest catch was 18, right? So again, continues to be low amount of catches, but he's already at close to 700 yards, right? And
I want to point this out. Aberhart's got one of the highest averages in the league. He's 12th in the league for um passing yards, or sorry, receiving yards, but he's also got so much lower a number of catches than the other guys above him. He also made a spectacular catch on a tip throw that I thought was going to be intercepted, that happened in the first or second quarter. He's emerged this year, man. I love that guy.
I I
Podcast
think
favorite.
I think even Aberhart was getting sick of all the deflected passes and was like, "That's it, I'm doing it myself." Like,
In his own hands.
yeah, I've noticed that there was been so many deflected passes against our offense, right? And then Aberhart just got sick of it and saying, "I'm catching this one. I'm not letting you guys catch this one." Yeah, he's absolutely our favorite receiver, not just because he's been a meme for us for a while now. It's just, I hope he's a career Lion, just like Brian
Yes.
Burnham was.
He's the
Yeah,
target.
and then McInnes, he had a little bit, a little bit of a disappointing one, right? Just only 3 catches on 9 targets, but for 57 yards. So he had one pretty good catch, which was the longest one at 34, and averaged 19 yards. And then Katoy, before he got injured, I'm not sure if he's gonna be, well, because it's a bye week. I'm sure he'll return for the Ottawa game, I hope. But he did get injured near the end. But I think
It did
I
not
think he's
look
just
serious.
didn't look serious. So yeah, he only had 3 catches and 5 targets for 50 yards, but 2 touchdowns. 17 average, and his longest catch was 20. Barry Hill went 3 for 4 for 30, and his longest catch was 27. So it's like the other two were just short catches, and then yeah, just yeah, McInnes and Barry Hill had a low amount of catches, but yeah, everyone, for the most part, I'd say 95%, the offense did a lot of the heavy work in this one. But again, it's not enough because the defense, and it's I double checked, I triple checked this. I went that can't be right, because the defense apparently got 3 sacks from Williams, Betts, and Tehema. 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, 0 turnover on downs, right? So with the defense being as much of a sieve as it was in this game, I think I know 2 of those 3 sacks were in the first quarter, right, when they were looking good. right? And then they only got the one. But yeah.
It
Um
does feel unbelievable that happened.
yeah, and once
They've been getting a
again,
lot more sacks lately.
yeah. Well, they give them more sacks, it's just not translating into just consistent shutting down of a quarterback, right? It's usually for like 1 or 2 quarters, never for three or the whole game. But not since the Edmonton game, really, or even Montreal for some times, right? But yeah, Alway got 9 tackles. Woods had 6. Peters and Betts had 5, and the rest of the team had less than 4. So yeah, once again, Alway has the most tackles on the team, right? So he's probably gonna be far and away the tackle leader in the CFL, right? Just, but again, just tackles on their own doesn't tell you the whole story, right? It's just when you're constantly tackling that much, it's that that you're not getting enough 2 and outs or just one and done drives, right? One first down and done. Um, and for the special teams, I mean, normally we would a lot of our episodes we'd be complaining about the special teams, but McGee actually had a really good game in this one.
Run.
We cannot have a balance. Like, our offensive special teams are doing, pretty good. And then the defense has to collapse. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Sean White, went perfect, 2 for 2 for field goals and 3 for 3 on points. Meyer only had 3 punts in this game, averaging 59 yards. So yeah, it's like, low amount of punts, which tells you, like, how good the offense was playing, right? And then yeah, McGee, he had 11 return catches on special teams. But yeah, the punt returns, he had 3 for 27 yards, so not good there. I mean, that's kind of usual McGee fare right there in terms of not being great on the punt returns. But he had 8 kickoff returns because of all the touchdowns, right? For
Kickoffs.
196
Ridiculous.
yards. I think this is the first time we've seen our special teams returners getting to the triple digits now in terms of return yardage, and it turned out it's in a loss.
That's just
Wha-
pathetic. Ideally, there'd be only one kickoff in the game, which would be, at the start of the half, and then you don't give up anymore. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be
and then
fair, you should say maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 kickoffs per game. But 8 is just completely insane. Again, blaming it
8
all on
kickoff.
blaming it all on the defense, but I think well deserved.
Yeah, and of course he had a grand total of like 224 yards on the return yardage. And he averaged like 25 for kickoffs, but the longest kickoff run was 61 yards. So yeah, once again, he did have like one break in this game where I thought like, oh my god, is it gonna happen this time? And
I was
then
pinching myself.
just
And in not a good
no,
way.
yeah, and then only like 9 for punt. I think I had a typo there, but yeah, like you get the point. Like the punt returns wasn't as good, but yeah, the kickoffs. I mean, because we've had they've given up so many touchdowns. Like it's obvious that you would probably get into triple digit in return yardage, and yeah,
The question is,
yeah.
would Terry Williams get 100 yards off 8 returns, kickoff returns? I don't know.
I think he
Maybe I'm
would.
just pushing it a
Yeah,
bit.
with all the no
I
probably with all the no yards penalty to get to triple digits.
yeah, that would count.
Imagine that. Yeah, yeah, you would need like what 15 times the 15, 30, 45, 68. Yeah, you need like 6 no yard penalties to get to the 100 yards of penalty yardage, right? uh, could
Oh,
probably do
long gone
that,
are
but
the days of that.
yeah.
It's
Now
just
let's get into like Toronto stats, and I put these stats in like, oh my god, what
Yeah.
what is this?
Uh,
Right? What are we doing?
this has a lot of deja vu for me from that game in 2023 was I was in Toronto for the Lions playing the Argos, and I think Vernon Adams threw 6 picks that day, and it just went downhill, and I remember leaving very unhappy, shall we say. I don't wanna It's a family show.
Is
So I
there
won't
something if there's something hidden in the CNA, like the CNA ground that's causing BC constantly because I want to know.
Yeah, it's just like we've been bad in Toronto for a number of years, and
Yeah, and I
we
think
want to stop it.
one of the times we won in Toronto, that was the Rouge off, right? That was
Yes, I remember that we missed the field goal, and yeah, that was great.
that was
But
funny.
that was like the only time we've won there in the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years.
Feels
It's
like
just been
it,
a
yeah.
house of horrors for the Lions, and this continues. I can read the offense, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just reading this and I'm quite stunned because Arbuckle went 26 for 33 and 430 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is like,
Yards.
that's just unbelievable. That's almost 3 full football fields worth. So that's fantastic. And his longest throw was 70 yards, which 3 carries for 8 yards rushing minimal for them. The running back, is this true? Wow, did McMahon really only have 3 carries for 7 yards?
Yeah,
He
because
got injured.
he got injured in the fourth
Okay,
quarter, and
yeah, here we
then
go. Yeah.
I know what
I think he
placement
came
had
back.
a mm,
Okay, I
He
seen
came
the.
back, but he didn't play any more snaps because the replacement was. You can
Okay,
go
I
over
see.
it now.
Yeah,
you know,
I understood the notes wrong there. Okay, that makes sense. Spencer Brown had 19 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown, and his longest rush was 10 yards, and then he also made 3 catches for 34. And going on to the receivers here, Herslow had 5 catches for 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he caught that 70-yarder from Arbuckle.
and
So
he's averaging 30 yards
Averaging
per
30
catch.
yards. Goodness me.
That is Abraham levels of crazy, right? It's just
Yeah.
he gets almost half of that on one play. So just shocking, shockingly good. Brissett had
On to the
four
next
catches
one.
for 118 yards, also averaging 30 yards, and he had his longest was 57. So two separate receivers with, multiple catches each averaging 30 yards. What does that
and
tell you?
over 100 yards as well.
It tells you that the defense crapped the bed. Makes sense that I'm wearing a brown shirt for that reason. Um, Mittal made 7 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown. Longest was 15. Unger, the third, had 3 catches for 36 yards. Longest was 14. So nothing to complain about there. Daniels had 2 catches for 21. And Grant had 1 catch for negative five
-5
yards.
yards. Yeah, Grant is like one of the premier
Hmm.
players, right? And he was quiet in this one,
That's
right?
that's a play when you want to just drop the ball, just intentionally drop it, so they call it incomplete and don't catch that because that sucks. But hey, we're not complaining as Lions fans. So that's all the offense. How many do you want to read
You know
defense
what?
and special teams?
Um, uh, if you remember from previous episodes, I hate Janarian Grant because he always destroys us on punt returns. And he's done that for a while for Winnipeg. So it brings a smile to my face to see him be negative in one category, but that's probably one of the only positives we can take. It's not even a positive anyway. But defense, 2 sacks, one from McManus and Chatfield Jr. One interception was the pick six from Benji Franklin. That was extremely frustrating. A fumble with 4 minutes left, and I just realized that it happened because I didn't watch the last 10 minutes of the game. No turnover on downs.
Hmm.
I can how to pronounce his name.
Sluka.
Sluka with 5 tackles, and the rest of the team with less than a three because there wasn't many players to tackle. The great name Harlulahu, 3 for 3 on field goals and 5 for 5 on extra points. He had 5 extra point opportunities. Wow.
Yeah, he's
That should never
Harahuing
that
all the
should
way to
never
the
be
bank, right?
happening. Oh, I get it. Haha. That should never be happening though. 5 extra points. That says something that we failed. So yeah.
Yeah, completely failed. And Haggerty on punts had 3 punts, averaging 50 yards. No intended. I mean, that's solid. He didn't punt many times, so
Yeah,
Janarian
same
Grant,
amount as punt as Mayo was. So yeah, it's like a very low. It was all gas, no brakes in this game, right?
yeah.
uh, Pretty
Remember my
much.
dad commenting on the game, and he was like, "Have we even like punted the ball? Like, there's so many kickoffs. It was just like unreal." Um, and Janarian Grant, 5 return catches on special teams.
Yeah, here we
Uh,
go. One punt return
yeah,
for 8 yards.
one punt return for 8 yards, 4 kickoff returns for 74 yards, grand total of 82 yards, averaging 19 for kickoffs, longest being 28. So solid. Not as good as he's capable of. Remember I was at a game where he had a punt return touchdown. I've seen him He did that earlier this year as well. And Herslow at one kickoff return for 39 yards. That's solid. Now let me go over the
Penalties.
penalties because
We
we had
complained about the penalties in the last game, but this again, it continues to be bizarre, right?
so
Uh,
last game we gave up something like 100 and whatever. But anyway, anything over 100 is terrible. We had at least over 100 last game. We had five penalties this game for 36 yards, and Toronto had five for 45
so
yards,
Toronto had more
which,
penalty yardage in this game, like barely, but still they won.
yeah,
Right?
let me scroll up to see we had 137 penalty yards last game, which is bad.
Yeah, on the penalty side of things, I mean that's improved, but then again, it's just when your defense is just out there getting torn to shreds, right? You would expect a lot more DPI, but I think there was only what, like one or two of them in the game, right? There was
Mhm.
wasn't that bad, right? But again, it was just straight up the Toronto offense wasn't relying on penalties on the defense just to be able to just watch it. They didn't need to, right? Uh, yeah, and then the last thing will be like time of possession, and yeah, Toronto's like had the extra, yeah, 8 minutes, I think. Oh no, 7 minutes. So Toronto had 33 minutes and 18 seconds, and we had 26 minutes and 42 seconds. So yeah, um, yeah, just I just think Toronto. Well, I do know I did notice. I mean, there were definitely multiple drives for Toronto's offense where whenever they would score touchdowns. It would also be, I think half of them were at least 10 plays, and the other time there was just like quick strikes, like at least five plays or less that end up in a touchdown, right? So yeah, all that basically contributed to Toronto having 7 more minutes of time than us, right?
And when
uh,
it's that misbalanced, you're going to lose most of the time. And sure enough, the Lions did. So,
huh,
lot of sadness.
I know.
Game recap.
I know, game recap, and yeah, this was like a very unique game recap because for one thing, yeah, I was away. JS, you were, uh, you know, you were offline for yes, all day 2 days ago, and then yesterday, right, until last
Yep.
night. But yeah,
I was watching. I barely took notes because I think I lost interest. I didn't lose interest, but the third quarter was just going so downhill. I stopped taking notes by then. I didn't take a lot in the first half
yeah,
because,
I was,
just
yeah, I was the same way too. Like when I was what when I came home and I rewatched the game, like I did my note. There was still a lot for me to write, but I think yeah, even though it dropped 52 points on us, I mean it it feels like a blowout, and yet by a point total that it's not really. But again, uh,
And the
we'll
scoreline is
get,
a bit flattering, I'd say.
yeah. So yeah, first quarter, this is where everything good happened, and I watched. I do remember watching like some of the first quarter before I had to leave, but yeah, everything was good because yeah, I put before the game started the Lions on a 2-game winning streak and the Argos on a 3-game losing streak. So obviously both of those went away today. Um, Another interesting note I put is that Argos and Lions are in their color jerseys, so there was no white jerseys to be seen in this one. It was just two color sets going up against each other, which I thought was that's kind of rare to see. I like to see more of that. Like remember when the LA Kings played the Minnesota Wild and they were both retros? That was a fun color matchup. So yeah, this was kind of the same thing,
it,
right?
they
So
do like solid on solid color matchups in soccer. So that's one thing I really like.
yeah. Uh, and then I also put James Butler is noted as a league leader in rushing yards at 785. So he added to that. So now he's like over 800 today. And then yeah, Hoslow received the opening kickoff and took this was the Omen set in kind of even in with this good start, the Omen kind of set in like immediately because Hoslow took the opening kickoff to center field. I'm gonna, oh, that's not good. Oh, uh,
I knew what was going to happen from that point on, really.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, so Toronto's opening drive, Daniels converted on 11 yards on a pass for first down, and an Arbuckle had like Arbuckle had absolutely no pressure on him, and he passed to Unger for 10 yards. And then McMahon catch the dump off and runs to convert for 14 yards to get into the red zone. And then they go no further as Grant gets tackled for a loss. Yeah, that was the one catch he had. That was for
Loss.
-5 yards. That's the one. Yeah. That's why I write it. That's why I write the details, right? So it's like, okay, that's where it happened. So yeah, that was like the one try, yeah. So that's a loss. So yeah, Toronto was forced to kick a field goal after an incompletion. You know, it's 23 yards, so it's like an easy one for Halalahu to do. So yeah, went up 3-0. And then first opening drive for BC, Work instantly converts on first down from the 40. So like instant pass to Hatcher in the middle of the field for 30 yards. And then Hatcher has another first down catch on the right side for 15. And then this was in the first quarter. This is where Aberhart caught that deflected pass that was intended for Butler. Right, it bounced off Butler and then it floated into his hand. And he ran straight for it. Right, that's probably the highlight of the day for me for BSC, even with the loss. Right, it was yeah,
It was
that was
fun to see him
awesome.
make a play in the middle of the field for once because he's always really wide. So that was a bit
Yeah,
unusual, but he shined in that moment.
yeah, he
Mhm.
was usually like he's always the deep threat guy, but yeah, this time he worked his tail off for that one. So props to him for that one. And then yeah, then 17. That was a 17-yard catch, and then immediately after that, Katoy catches in the flat and muscles off a tackler and runs into the end zone for the 10-yard. Yeah, it was a 10-yard touchdown, and it was an effective touchdown drive to take the lead to 7-3 for BC. So they quickly took the lead there. Grant returns the kickoff to the Toronto 35, and then Arbuckle gets sacked for a loss of 5 yards for a 2-and-out by Renee. So, no, with all criticism of defense, they actually got a 2-and-out in this one, right? It was uh yeah,
Only they could have kept that up the whole game would have been nice.
no, McGee returned the punt to the BC 32. McKinnis barely converted on a short path on second down for 6 yards, and then roughing the passer penalty on Toronto tacks on 15 more to get to the 51, and then Rook like absolutely gunned the pass to Burial on first down for 27 yards. That was a fast one. That was Rook at his A game there, and then yeah, again, and Rook already had 100+ yards passing in this quarter, halfway through it, right? So we were, as I was watching it, I was prepared to see another 41-38 score like the Hamilton game. I mean, it was close, but uh, yeah. So Work had 100+ yards passing, and then yeah, Butler ran on second and short to get to the end zone despite being tackled at the 3. So I got tackled at the 3, but he forced his way through that tackle into the end zone to extend the lead to 14-3. On back-to-back 5-play touchdown drive. So, quick strike touchdown drive. Boom, up 14-3. I thought, okay, I'm happy. I gotta go now. See ya.
Wow,
And
that was unfortunate
I should
timing.
I should have stopped. You know, I debated, I guess had I not gone to SFU, would the score have changed, right? Like this is the thing I think about often. I'm totally not superstitious or anything. It's like what was I like me leaving that caused the defense to collapse. It's like
I'm sure it was.
uh yeah, I sometimes I wonder about that. What if I did things differently? Like I know sports you have no control over that, but like what if you actually did?
I
uh
feel the same.
I do too, all the time.
Oh yeah. So yeah, after that, 14-3, hey, everything's going good. And then yeah, Grant returned the kickoff to its 34. Arbuckle throws to a wide open Unger on the left side. He stepped out onto the sideline for 12 yards. And then McMahon converts on back-to-back second down short yardage runs. And then at the end of the second short yardage first down run. He got injured on that one, so he had to leave, and then got replaced by Spencer Brown. Mattel converts on a pass to the right side for 11 yards and first down, and then he also got another one on a run for 14 yards. And then on the final play of the quarter in the red zone, Spencer Brown ran for no gain. So it's like, that was already threatening score by the time the second quarter rolled around, and then thankfully, in this one, like Finlay, which was I think it was like probably off the practice squad for the secondary. He nearly picked off Arbuckle on 2nd and 10 to stop Toronto from advancing forward. So basically, imagine how that would have won if that was an interception, right? But Howell kicks another easy field goal to shorten the lead to 14-6. But I'm going, okay, I'm getting kind of with a lot of red zone stops here, but I don't know. Eventually, unlike Montreal, eventually that would break, right? I was already getting a bad feeling like, okay, these red zone stops are going to bite us, right? Oh no, these constant trips into the red zone will bite us eventually. So, yeah. So after that field goal, Hill gets tackled on a wide receiver run for a loss of 4 yards, and then Work gets a second down pass deflected incomplete for a 2 and out. So, bit of a blemish from the offense in that one. And then Finley, he coming off of stopping the red zone touchdown from happening in the beginning of the second quarter. He also contained Grant on a great punt coverage. From a great punt from Mayo to start a drive with the 19, and then Brissett catch it, and then Brissett caught a deep shot from Arbuckle on 2nd and 10 to get to the 50.
Of course he did.
Second and 10, yeah,
I hate second and long conversions like that, right? Just you're able to get the ball down that fast, that easily.
It happens too often for the Lions every single time. You think
And
they're
then
going to make a good play on first down, you get excited, oh, they're going to force a punt, and no, they fail.
No, and then just immediately they just forget how to play defense, and that's happened too much. And then Brissett converted again an 11-yard pass from the left field outside, and then Mattel for 11 yards, and then the Argos were basically looking like the Lions in the first quarter, right? It's like they took whatever the Lions were drinking in the first quarter. I'm like, yeah, we could do that, but better. And it just continues. I mean, Vittel gets 9 yards on 2nd and 10 to get the 3rd and inches, and that's converted easily. And then on a second down incompletion, when they is called for DPI to get the 1st and goal, and that was actually challenged by Buck Pierce, but I didn't really see anything that could be construed as
I didn't see it either.
DPI in
That was a
one,
pretty quick challenge.
pretty
Yeah,
quick
no,
refusal. Right?
bit of a waste of one.
Yeah, I think that was basically just like a glorified timeout for the defense, really, right? But
At least it wasn't as bad as the later game where it was Calgary, Saskatchewan, right? Calgary made a challenge within the first minute and a half of the game. They lost the challenge. So then they were cooked for the rest of the game for challenges. At least it wasn't that bad.
yeah, but although in the end that didn't matter because they won that one, but that was a brief moment of stupidity. But this one, this was just like a glorified timeout for BC,
Basically, yeah.
And it didn't help because the Argos scored a second down touchdown anyways because Arbuckle ran it easily into the end zone, right? To tie the game at 14-14 with that 2-point convert from Brown being good. I'm like, yeah, didn't matter. Didn't matter. I banged my knee on my table. That's how angry I got. Right? It was like the rage from 2 days ago is still not dissipated. Right? I was gonna ask if I'm sure you guys are still like fuming from this, right? Just we'll be fuming from this for weeks, right? It's just in the blink of an eye they tied the game just like that, right? Just and then McGee ran the kickoff to the BC 34. Work throws to McInnes to convert on first down 14. Work ran to the 24 to convert, but BC had called for procedure when no end procedure and Nick stat conversion. And then on 2nd and 10, Benji Franklin picked off Rourke and does the pick six because he wanted
Ah,
back in the end zone, take the lead. I saw your reaction to that right as I saw that. Like I scrolled down a little bit to see that one. Yeah,
that was a tough one. Yeah, I was very frustrated at that.
all I could do was just exhale audibly. Just it wasn't as it was painful, but like if I experienced it in the moment, it would have been more shocking to me. Right, it was but instead I'm like, okay, that's how this is gonna go then, huh? uh, but yeah. So again, they quickly took the lead after that, and I'm like, oh my god, this has gone from bad to worse. But to BC's credit on the offense, they do eventually tie the game because McGee ran the kickoff back to 36 of a yeah, it was to the Toronto 36, right? So that was like his best kick return all game, right? So
But
and I put in
it
point
still didn't matter.
and then the commentary mentioned that the reason why his name's Seven McGee is because he's the seventh child in his family.
Well, I love that. I remember that as well.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's like if I was
77.
well, I I guess I'd be named second, right, or just middle, because I'm the middle child of the family, right? So
I would be named one or something. That's
yeah.
probably could be a bit
So
more creative,
solo.
like the first or
Yes.
whatever. But
Yeah. You
solo.
could solo would be a great name, right?
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, he had one of his best kickoff returns for McGee, and then Toronto was called for roughing the passer on 2nd down incompletion. So it was about to be a field goal, but roughing the passer makes the drive survive. And BC got into the red zone on that penalty, and then Katoy had another great touchdown grab because he hurdled over a defender after he caught that pass for a 20-yard touchdown. It wasn't exactly like Saquon Barkley levels of an amazing hurdle, but it was still, fun to see him power
But
through
still,
that and score right there.
very good footwork as well to stay in balance. I was surprised he didn't touch any of the white boundary, but that was a very good play by him. That was his second, not a
Second,
second, but yeah, for first
yeah,
of two touchdowns that game.
and not only that, it was also a three-play drive, right? So a lot of the touchdowns that BC has been scoring is just like less than five at this point in the game, right? It was very quick strike. So yeah, they tied the game back at 21-0, and then like okay, this is I'm thinking okay, it's gonna be one of those Hamilton games again. Can't have it easy. Not uh yeah, and then Grant returned the kickoff to the 28 on Toronto's side of the ball, and then Arbuckle avoided pressure and throws it to Hoslow to convert for 16, even with the offside BC penalty being called, so they declined that. Arbuckle was also like limping in this game, but he was obviously fine because then he threw for like 200 plus more yards after that, right? So whatever injury that was, I think that might have unlocked like his second form or something, like in Dragon Ball Z, where you have all these Super Saiyan forms, right? Injuries just make him stronger, and yeah, Brown converts on a short
Clearly,
yardage to get yeah. Brown converts on a short yardage to get to the BT 47. Toronto offense is in a great rhythm as Ungaro catches for 9 yards to convert on short yardage for 5 from local running. And then Hoslow converts on a left side pass for 15 yards to get in the red zone. And Arbuckle throws to wide open Mattel for the 15-yard score to retake the lead at 28-21 with 33 seconds left in that. And I was like, yeah, that's going to break our streak of, a little streak of taking a lead into the game. Might
mhm.
eventually it was going to happen, but I didn't think it would be happening here. Right, I thought it would be the Calgary game that it would happen, but yeah. Then yeah, McGee returned the kickoff to the 31. I thought put not following up a great return, a little bit just unfortunately. BC funny thing happened in like the last few seconds of this half. BC tried to kneel the ball down, but then the Argos were called for too many men, So they got a first down out of that, but they still kneeled anyways. Right. So I went, oh, what? You couldn't try for maybe a field goal out of this or something? Nope, they just gave up.
I thought that was an odd call by Buck Pierce. Twitter was not happy about that. I remember that.
I didn't like that either. Like, you had that too many men penalty. You got closer. Like you like Sean White is a really good kicker. Like, you could absolutely make up 30 yards with like 30 seconds left in the half, right? Oh, just gave up, right? I don't know why he did that, right? Just why not try for points? It's still a close game at this point, and you know,
I guess he just didn't want it to get worse, given how badly, things had been going at that point. Just stem the bleeding, per se. That's what I
I
would imagine his
I
thoughts were.
guess, but I mean, uh,
I don't know if I agree with it, but at least I understand it, right?
yeah, yeah, that's the phrase I was looking for, pretty much. Yeah, so yeah, second half. So after that crazy first half, where just we had to lead in the first quarter, and then the Argos proceed to score like 24 in this one to have a touchdown lead, and then yeah. So in the third quarter, so since Toronto was receiving like the opening kickoff in the first quarter, so we get the opening kickoff in the second half, and McGee returned it to the 46. Butler converts on a first down run for 20 yards, and Hatcher converts on a catch on the right side for 24. BC then takes the final timeout of the game early in the quarter. I thought that was notable too, right? Because
Pretty
like that
pathetic.
was a
Bad clock
weird
management.
time to do that, yeah. And then work through the ball to get Dwight to convert for 19 yards to get the first and goal range. Butler couldn't haul in a second down and short TD pass. Yeah, I think this was a little
Oh
bit of a
yeah,
frustrating part of it. Yeah, like they couldn't get into the end
yeah, going
zone and just
backwards.
like, yeah, we're going backwards, and just Sean White booted in an easy field goal to shorten the final lead to 28-24.
I hate
It could
short field goals like that. So frustrating.
I mean, it could have been like 28-27 at this point had Buck Pierce was a little more courageous at the end of that first half, right? But again, just the little things kind of added up here, just at least on the offensive side of the ball, like it's a little bit of a point of criticism, but it's not like too much, right? It's this is where things get ugly, because on Toronto's next drive, Brissett caught a deep shot from Arbuckle to instantly get into the red zone on a 65-yard pass
Yeah, it's coming back to
right
me.
off the
That
bat.
was frustrating.
Brown barely converted on a short pass to the right side to get in the goal range, and then Brown then kept going, found the end zone again on a short run to extend the lead to 35-24 with on a 4-play drive. Right, so that's like it went from this game is close to this game is not close in the span of
Yeah.
a few seconds. I
This,
just
this is kind of where I just thought the game was over, that four-play drive. We've seen it happen against us so many times this year,
Mhm.
against Hamilton. Um, we let it happen. Arbuckle's played good all game, but like not to discount him, but the defense was doing them too many favors.
Yeah, with the constant zone defense that looked, and it's just Arbuckle was just teeing off on 10-yard conversion possibly, and it continues. And well, first of all, McGee returned the kickoff to the BC 37, and then they get called for time count violation on second down after an incompletion to get the second and 50. And obviously, Toronto would have been able to, get a first down on that, but not BC's offense this time around, because yeah, Ward got sacked for a loss of 7 to go 2-and-out. So it was like 3rd and 22. Meyer punted out of bounds to Toronto 29. Arbuckle gets sacked for a loss of 6 on first down. Brown only gets 6 yards on a screen pass after a scuffle between McFadden and Woods, and there were like offsetting penalties. So it's like kind of got ugly there for a second there, but it was offsetting. So it's like, okay, it's negligible, whatever. And then after an injury timeout, Haggerty punched the ball to McGee as he returns it to the BC 38. So Butler runs up the gut for a 12-yard conversion, and then Work throws the Hatcher converts on a catch for 25 yards. And then McInnes catches and converts all the way to the 1 yard line. But roughing the passer call. It was a roughing the passer call, but because they were so close to the goal line, it was like only 5 inches or something like 6 literally half the distance to the goal
Well,
on the one yard
they
line.
don't call half the distance on major fouls anymore. They go all the way to the one. They changed that rule this year, which I like, but either way, it didn't mean much.
Yeah, just a little bit, but yeah, BC, but yeah, BC's short yardage failed twice on first and second down. So I went, oh my God, I was prepared to see them fail on third down, but thankfully Butler, he kind of like Superman dove into the end zone right for that, and Mazzoli handed
Not
it
all
off to
long.
him, and that was funny. I was like, okay, enough of this. Score, please. Thank you. It's 35-30, but the 2 point convert failed, right? So could have been 35-32, but yeah, just the offense wasn't good on that 2 point convert either. But yeah, it was just the still close game. Grant returned the kickoff to the Toronto 38, and then Brown runs for 9 yards to help the short yardage convert. Brown then converted on a first down catch for 15 yards, and then like near the end of the third quarter, this is where it happens. Perslow caught a deep shot with two Lions defenders covering him for a 45-yard touchdown strike to further extend the lead to 40-30, and that was death right there, pretty much. That was me that was you thinking it was like this game's over, and me thinking like this game is probably over, but I'm gonna keep watching and see what else happens, right? And
Robert Carter Jr. would have been punching himself for that one because he had a good read on it, pretty much just lost at the last second.
just lost at the last second. Perslow caught in, just like ran it in easily. And then yeah, the end of the third quarter was like the kickoff from McGee to the 30, and then yeah, fourth quarter, very short because Aberhart converted on a 12-yard pass on second down after a down judge got injured on that one, right? So there was a little bit of a delay for that
Oh,
too, but yeah, I hope he's okay.
Hope so too.
Hatcher caught another conversion catch for 10 yards on first down. Wilk is almost sacked. This was like an amazing run from Wilk, like, for 47 yards. He did all he could to like sustain the drive there. Barely held caught for 7 on second down, and then yeah, but after that 47-yard run, just nothing much there after that. And then Sean White took the point as he boots another field goal to shorten the lead to 42-33. And then right off the hop, like the first play of the Toronto Tech drive, just Arbuckle nailed another deep pass to Herslow for 70 yards to extend like the lead to 49-33. And then
there's more left the house.
It always happens.
There's
As soon as you
done.
get some positive
Yep.
momentum, get to within 9, immediately flush it down the toilet and put an end to our hopes of winning and an end to our notes for this game.
I'm doing my notes for this game, right? Because
Yep.
I went, okay, there was no reason for me to continue watching if I think I got a good view. And then at that point, that's when I scrolled down through like the rest of the group chat. I didn't see as much. Just I'm like, yeah, I'm right. This was in the books, right? Because like the total message count for the group chat during that game that you did, Hammer, was 34 messages.
I was wondering.
Yeah, 34 messages. Most of them were just cries of despair.
There were a lot of caps lock and that, just me screaming at the clouds about the defense and other things. It was not a fun experience going through it.
Yeah,
Nope.
but we got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toronto tacked on another field goal to get into 52 points, and yeah, and then BC scored a rouge and probably after the fumble too. But yeah, I didn't. But the last bit of the fourth quarter was a mystery to all of us because no point in us watching the rest of it pretty much. So
I think there was a lot of time wasting at the end there. The
yeah,
drives took a bit
and
longer than earlier ones.
Yeah, and then I put of course I made the observation that if you know your Greek mythology, to your viewers, you might remember that Jathan and the Argonauts, when they were out to look for the Golden Fleece, um, the amount of Argonauts that Jathan commanded, it's a debatable number, but I think most texts would have the Argonauts amount as about 50, about 50 sailors on that ship. So the Argonauts literally scored more points on us than the entire Argonauts in Greek mythology.
It's
And
insane.
that's why the title is called Shipwrecked. Shipwrecked.
The depressing facts do not end. There was another thing I was watching for during the game is that we gave up 33 points in 32 minutes. And I'm like, we're on pace to give up 60. And then we gave up 49 points with like 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So we were on pace to give up 60 points for most of the game. Didn't happen because
Yeah,
what's the
Toronto
point
kind
of
of
scoring more at the end? But
yeah, Toronto kind of let up on this again. Like I think their point was made, right? Just
their point was made.
literally. And yeah, so basically after all that, this was a very, very winnable game for BC on all fronts. And it's now lost because now it has implications for the rest of the league in both the East and the West, because the Lions are entirely lackadaisical on defense because they dropped the critical game here, right? Like a very critical game, a winnable and a critical game now lost because now they're heading into the bye week. They're once again under 500. They refuse to go over 500. They remind me of
Since
like
game one.
I think it was last year where the Blue Jays kept like getting into 500, but then they always like drop below it, right? That's what that
That
reminds me of, right?
was a season I'd
I
love to forget. I pretty much have forgotten that season already.
I know. I don't just watch the Orioles. I pay attention to how badly the Blue Jays are playing just to satisfy Schadenfreude. But yeah,
That's that's the fun of being a fan. We love being a hater.
it's yeah. Unfortunately, I'm slowly becoming more of a hater of this team than I am a fan because
Oh yeah, dude. Get the
like
defense out of here.
this was like one of probably, man, like I didn't think we'd go much lower than blowing that lead to Hamilton at home. This was like giving up 52 points to the worst team in the league that's suffering like the mother of all breakup hangovers right now. It's unacceptable.
It's
Something's got to
unacceptable.
change.
I don't know
Like,
how
come
the heck
on,
we lose that. Just totally
come on,
forget it.
Rigmade, come on, Rigmade, and do something. Right? So, like, this cannot continue. Right? Even though we're going into a bye week, this is just the noise from the fans is like getting deafening now from not just from us, from fans on the
It
province.
also
Like
can
this
continue,
is
but it because the next couple games or the rest of the season, in fact, because there's only 7 games left, it's not getting much easier for us. You made a
yeah.
point in the group chat earlier, so we played 2 straight games against Ottawa. We pretty much have to win both of those games, or else things are not looking good for us after that. We play the Stamps twice. Stamps are undefeated against teams in the West this year,
I
playing against
know.
Vernon Adams. And Argos, Elks, can't really guarantee anything there. Elks have been winning games.
Riders.
Argos, Riders, last game of the season. So who knows if they'll be resting players or not. That could be a big game for them, maybe clinching first in the division or something. So
We'll
it's
see.
not going to be easy.
Yeah, because I even said well, again, for one thing, we have to beat Ottawa twice in order to save the season. Because if they lose both games to Ottawa, I said it in the group chat. I'm saying it here. I really think this season's going to be over. We're done if we don't beat Ottawa twice. Beating Ottawa once would be good, but beating Ottawa twice would would give more confidence in us, right? But yeah, it's just with every seems like with every win, it's just followed up with such devastation, right?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
It's been win one, lose one, but also worse than that this year.
yeah, but the losses are so bad, right? The wins are mostly nail biters. The losses are just like we get a crap rocked or we get a butts kicked, or it's just like a death by 1,000 cuts loss. And it's just uh yeah. So as I said, we don't beat the Ottawa games. I mean, I'm making a bold prediction we're gonna miss, right? Because it's like because then that would mean that Ottawa. Well, I think I don't think I think they're gonna be. Are they gonna be playing next week? I think they are.
Or
Let's see.
other knots.
Yeah, because we're gonna get into the preview of the games pretty soon. Oh yeah, they're not playing. Okay, yeah. So basically, if Ottawa beats us twice, then they're gonna tie our record just like that, right?
Wow.
So basically, those two Ottawa games, it's going to be a fight for both teams' lives, right? So it's going to be very, very tense atmospheres in both cities, right? Because it's still and anything goes with all the teams left, right? Like any of the all night. Well, I'd say like half the teams are already lost, but the other half are not exactly that far out of the picture, right?
It's toss up
Uh,
in the worst way.
there was so much mediocrity, right? After Calgary, well, I'd say Winnipeg is probably the cutoff line, right? Like it's mediocrity past that way. It's just uh yeah. So I guess well, first thing I want to do before we head off is let's quickly recap the Week 12 games. So yeah, Winnipeg beat Montreal 26-13, so that got them to 7 wins, and then Montreal dropped to below 500 with that loss. So they've been on a
Well,
massive losing streak there too. So
it was
yeah,
not a good
I
game
could
from James Morgan.
I could see them start to fall off even more, right? But again, it's going to depend on if Ottawa or Toronto decides to start winning, right? And yeah, like I said, still a lot to be decided with the East, but it's just Montreal's like hard sliding, and Toronto woke up and realized that and said, winning is a neat trick. We should try that.
And what better team
uh,
to be faced with than the BC Lions? Always a
right.
good, fairly easy opponent.
Yeah, and then the next game was Edmonton versus Ottawa. That was a win-win game for us because you know Ottawa Ottawa lost that game, so they're kind of kept down a little bit. But because BC didn't take advantage of Toronto in like the worst way possible, then now it sets up those Ottawa games for a big one, as I said. But yeah, Edmonton. But now Edmonton beating Ottawa. Now Edmonton has vaulted back into the conversation of a possible playoff team too, right? So they were at 1 win for forever, and then they started winning, and now they're back in it. Right? It's insane. They're Edmonton, Edmonton, uh, and then then
Yeah.
Calgary. Yeah, then the game after the Argos game on the Saturday, Calgary beat Saskatchewan 32-15. I didn't watch the highlights or watch that game, but I figured that Vernon Adams must have looked pretty good in that one. Right there.
Um, VA 222 yards, three TDs.
Yeah, it's
Huh. Not as
pretty good
explosive as a game as I would have thought.
in terms
Got
of
a pretty similar
touchdowns.
stat line to Trevor Harris, and Jake Mayer had some snaps as well.
Oh man, I wonder. Oh, I was probably. Well, yeah, Jake Mail was probably put in the end of the game just to save
Yeah.
Trevor with the next game, right? But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, nobody in the East or Saskatchewan helped us out. So it was
Not
basically
one.
an all
West
around
teams keep on winning.
an all around just terrible week for us, right? Just
Really could not be much worse than it was, but at
it's
least we still have time. The Lions still control their own destiny, so as long as that's true, we have hope. As soon as that stops, then we're doomed.
yeah, because I'd say that at most I think BC could probably win at least 10 games. 9 might be enough. 8 is not. We have to
Yeah,
get to 9 or 10 wins, right?
to have a realistic
And
chance to get in. Yeah, I agree with
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
and it's 7 games left, and so basically we have to, you
As
know,
hard as it sounds, we need to win
it's
more than we lose before the end of the season.
yeah. Again, the road is gonna get harder after these Ottawa games. Although, again, with the way BC played against Toronto, maybe Ottawa is like another part of the hard road too. Again, uh, yeah, it's very scary times for us in the and for us in the fall, right? Like, I did not want this to happen, but unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just.
But
So yeah, the next week, that's gonna be Labor Day weekend. So there's only gonna be, yeah, you're not gonna see us until like September. So it's the last August episode. Oh
There
no,
you
no,
go.
yeah, our last August game episode. The bye week episode will be yeah, Monday. So yeah, this is our last August episode. So yeah, okay,
September 1st.
yeah, literally September 4th. That's my mom's birthday, so she turned 70.
Oh,
So
oh,
yeah,
good.
there's only 3 games for week 13. So Blue Bombers and Rough Riders. I think Saskatchewan can probably beat Winnipeg because they're probably not going to be very happy about losing the way they did to Calgary that way, right? That that
I
was
want to
not a
continue with
Saskatchewan.
the conspiracy. I don't know. It seems like Blue Bombers can only beat the Lions, so I'd say the Riders win that one.
I can
Yeah,
believe
I
that
think
one too.
yeah, the Riders might have a measure of revenge against the rivals, and of course that's of course that's the Labor Day game, and but the week after that will be the Banjo Bowl. So uh yeah, there's that. But yeah, so there's the Sunday, August 31st, Bombers and Riders, and then yeah, the Labor Day game, there's just the two of them. There's Argos and Ticats at 11 Sodio time. So that's gonna be an early game. Right. So yeah, I say well, yeah, the Argos are still going to be fighting for their lives in this one, right? Just to keep alive. So let's hope the Ticats win that one at least, right?
Hope so too.
Because that's yeah, we'll fully on the Hamilton bandwagon this time around, right? Just for our own measures, right? And then of course, yeah, and then the 3 p.m. game will be Stamps and Elks, and then Stamps is hosting Edmonton. So for that one, yeah, I want Calgary to win that one too, because again, we just want to have the teams below us lose as much as possible, right? At this point, I'd say.
It's
Um,
depressing.
and then yeah, and then our next game will be yeah, Friday, September the 5th. So that's gonna be a day before my birthday. So I guess you guys want to wish me like a happy birthday on that
I
recording?
would. I will do
So,
that.
for tomorrow for the day, yeah, it's only for like a few hours before I turn 30, right? So um yeah, so Lions and Red Black. So yeah, Lions are gonna be on the road again. They're still gonna be remaining in the East, in Ottawa. I'm sure the Sun score people are gonna be watching that game as tightly as we're gonna be watching it, right? So that's gonna be a very interesting game, to say the least. So I do know that with the Red Blacks, Bob Dice is on the hot seat for this one, right? Too. So there's a lot of personnel on both sides of coaching personnel on both sides of the aisle to you know think about firing them right after season's over, or at least, or maybe even mid-season. But yeah, a lot of jobs are on the line in this series. So I'd say. So yeah, that's
Hopefully Benavides.
hopefully Benavides is the first one to go, right? Because like I've had enough. Like I don't know who you replace him with, but I just know that again, it's just Again, I am so used to the defense being the ones to carry us to win, and now it's like I don't have much faith in the defense now. I mean, I probably should have come to that conclusion a little bit earlier on, right? But I think that yeah, it's just this loss like really, really cemented how poorly the defense is playing now, right? That's opened our eyes quite a bit, right? Not as much Lions fan becoming to the defensive fan, right? Like this is we're
Oh,
pretty much mostly united on this, right? It's just yeah. So that's gonna be it for us today. And I'm hoping that you guys will be around for Labor Day for next week. So
Labor Day
uh
is
me
always a
too.
good day in the CFL double header. One of my favorite days of the CFL calendar. So looking forward to the weekend's games.
yeah, and
Great.
then that bi-week episode, that's gonna be like probably either on the day on Labor Day. I'll upload that, or it'll probably be like the morning after. But yeah, it's not. It's just like one of this episode is just one of those rare occurrences where it's just like 2 days after the game's over, right? So yeah, so I think we've all vented our frustrations out with a nice bit of catharsis, right?
Yep,
There's
I
still
feel
some
better
I did
steam.
already.
during the gut check.
There's still some steam coming out of the head though, but it's like yeah. I'm like, man, I was just ready and willing to whip into the defense and just whip into the performance of the game. Like I was like, oh man, we all were. So
Yes.
Yep,
yeah. So yeah, I guess yeah, next you'll be seeing us will be in September. So
that's true.
yeah, we'll hope to see you in our bi-week episode. So
Bye,
you know,
folks.
yeah, actually, you know what's to come for that. And then, yeah, so our socials are going to be
Oh
down
yeah,
in the
want to
description
forget
to
that.
follow us still. So we got Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and like, comment, and subscribe, and all that. And of course, for long form com for long form suggestions or comments towards us, you can email us on our Gmail account at section 214 at gmail.com. I almost said beeline.com, and then
Almost
no
a
one
YouTube
out of
channel.
Maybe one
yeah.
day we'll be the official podcast, but not yet.
I would love to like collab with the First and Now guys, right? uh,
I had a feeling they wouldn't bring us on because we're too critical for an internally produced podcast. But maybe that's a good thing.
yeah, a little more we're, yeah, we're a little more like off the leash in terms of our criticisms, right? But yeah.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, but, maybe like one or two, like maybe collab would be fun, right?
I would agree with
But
that.
yeah, so our Gmail account is section 214 at gmail.com. That's SECTION TWOFOURTEEN at gmail.com. And yeah, so we'll see you on Labor Day, and I hope you guys will have like a fun Labor Day and rest of your week. So yeah, see ya.
See you guys
Yeah.
next time.